Okay, I've just taken the side plate off the Fat Mini here to reveal the control unit. I've seen a few videos on YouTube of not the Fat Mini here, which is identical in most respects really, apart from a few technical features, to the Volt Bike Mariner. And the Volt Bike Mariner videos I've seen is that this control unit can get this area here can get full of water. The reason being that if you look at the front, where the cables come in, I'll just get a torch. Down here, where the cables come into the box that contains the control unit, there's a hole there that allows water in. It can drip down this cable and get in here. It'll effectively fill this area up with water, and then people have had short circuits. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some silicone sealant around here to effectively, I'm making a gasket. The only other area I can see that may be an issue is around here. There's a gap here with when you put the plate back on, and the water could come down here and trickle into the box. I don't know why they don't think about this at the factory actually. Even worst case scenario or simplest fix, drill a hole underneath here with a rubber bung in it, and now and again you could pull the bung out and let the water out. Effectively this could completely fill up and it will destroy your control unit. So I'm going to run a bead of silicone around here, and I'm going to put some electrical putty around here to fill this area up, and we should be okay then. Okay, this is the putty. I've just bridged this area here, which should squash down when they put the cover back on, and it should seal that area. I'm assuming I've got to do the other side as well. This is what I'm using for the gasket. Draper blue silicone adhesive sealant. I'm not going to put too much on so that I can't get the cover off in the future, but this is actually to make a gasket, so it's the right stuff. Okay, as you can see, I've run a bead of the sealant all the way around the edge, and I've got that putty on the left there bridging that gap, so that should be fine. I think it should be okay. It's the best I can do, to be honest. What I've just noticed is where the screw goes in there, you can see where the threaded hole is broken through the casing. If water gets down past the screw and into there, it's effectively filling the control box area up again. So I'm going to put some of this silicone sealant, I think, in there, which should effectively seal it off. I'm just trying to cover all bases here. Okay, there we go. You can see where the silicone's squeezed out. When that's dry, I'm just going to peel that off. I think if I rub it off now while it's wet, it's just going to smear all over the place. So that's effectively sealed that whole side up. I'll do the opposite side now, and then I'll go to the cable holes. Right, the trickiest part of this side is obviously the chain, etc. is in the way. So I'll take the cover off, I'll apply the silicone to the cover, and then put the cover on. Right, the most difficult screw is this one here. So if I've just turned the pedal around so I can gain access to it, and I'm using one of these, which is what they call a ball-ended Allen key, and it allows you to get into a screw at an angle and still undo it. So it'll be quite tricky to do this without messing the screw head up if you didn't have one of these. So if you're going to do this, I would recommend you actually get one of these, even if it's just the one. I'll try and focus in better on this a bit later on. Right, so this is the area that I'm going to put that putty in. There's quite a large hole that the cables run through, and that's just going to allow all the water that either runs off the body or down this cable. It's going to allow it into the control housing, and that's just going to fill up. It'll fill up until the control unit shorts out. It tends to be an inherent issue with this style of bike. So I'm going to fill that up and I'll show you later. There's also a hole at the back. There's a cable that runs from the back of the housing as well, exactly the same as this, except it's a round hole rather than a sort of an elongated hole. So I'll do both of them. Right, it's not the prettiest thing in the world. It's a job to know whether to use too little or too much. I've probably gone a little bit too much there, but I am trying to cover where the cables meet. I don't want water seeping between them, so this actually stays like a putty. The thing was, I didn't want to use a silicone, because if I do need to replace this cable at some point, or if somebody needs to do something in this area, the silicone is going to be really bad. It's gonna stick to the cables, and the cables are going to be really almost glued in place. So this hopefully is going to stop the water from seeping in. That's the best I can do. I've run a bead of the silicone sealant around both side panels. I put this on the front and on the back here as well, where the cable comes out the rear. So I've sealed off what I can, and that's the best I can do. By the way, this is what I've used: Plumber's Mate non-setting putty for sanitary joints. So permanent flexibility, waterproof, long-lasting seal. We'll see how that goes.